Wasabi guys, coming back at you with another 10 underrated commander cards. Now it's not that these cards don't see play in the commander format, it's just they don't see enough play, or the amount of play they see is very specific and narrow right now, and it doesn't really see play in a wide range of decks. So the first one we have here is Spellbook, 0 mana artifact. You have no maximum hand size. Imagine Reliquary Tower that doesn't tap for mana and is also an artifact. But also it has benefits that neither Thought Vessel or Reliquary Tower give you. You've already played your land drop. Well, if you happen to draw your Reliquary Tower and you're shit out of luck because you don't have any card that says you don't have maximum hand size, unless you have Spellbook, you could just play it for free. It doesn't cost any mana, and your cards are safe from having to discard them at the end of the turn. Thought Vessel costs 2 mana, so that's 2 mana you could be using for other spells. This is just, it's efficient. Yeah, it takes a spot in your commander deck. That's the only bad part about it. But other than that, a 0 mana artifact, it's not a big target. It just gives you no maximum hand size. It doesn't do anything else. So I can't imagine it making you a target at all. It's a good quality card. It's fair, and I think not enough people know about it yet. Next we have Lotus Veil, a land that comes into play. You have to sacrifice 2 untapped lands, but it taps for 3 mana of any color. Really underrated, and I think when we talk about commanders such as Derevi, Imperial Tactician, Teferi, Temporal Archmage, any commander that can untap or tap permanents, specifically untapping when it comes to our lands, when you have a land that taps for 3 colored mana, that's insane. And I think not enough people know about this land either. It's from Weatherlight. Next we have Altar of the Brood. Now, out of a lot of the cards on this list, this is probably the one I think a lot of people know about already. However, not enough people feel confident enough to play it because they think that it makes them a huge target, which is true. However, it is still an awesome card in Commander. It's still cheap enough to the point where if you can buy playsets of this card, you definitely should do that. It's an awesome card. It's a very underrated mill card, and I think people they don't know enough about it. It's a 1 mana artifact. You're not putting that much mana into it. You're not investing a lot. And if it happens to go away, it goes away. Popular commanders for this type of card would be Shroom the Hegemon. In my honest opinion, you have a commander that can get it back from your graveyard. You have combos associated with that commander that can constantly get you ETB triggers, and suddenly your opponents are dead as soon as they draw a card. Just an awesome card. Then we have Curse of the Swine. Last video, I had Exiling Removal for blue. This is another card for Exiling Removal in blue. However, this is a sorcery with X in the mana cost, so you can target X creatures, and they exile them and replace them with 2/2 green boars. Absolutely wonderful removal for blue. Unfortunately, it's not non-land removal, but it's still great. Exiling creatures is always good, and creatures do tend to be the game-winning cards when we talk about just pure advantage. So it's great that blue has a removal spell like this. Not enough people play it, though. A lot more people sort of discount the removal, and they typically think of Cyclonic Rift as the only way to deal with problem creatures, but this is definitely another great card. Then we have Hall of Gemstone, a 3 mana enchantment. During each player's upkeep, they choose a color. Lands they control that tap for mana can only tap for mana of the chosen color. So it's super fair, but it's one of those cards that sort of like Resource Denial. It's almost like saying Contamination, except you get to choose the color that you're contaminated with. So it's a lot better, and it's a lot less hateful, and people are not going to be as pissed now. There are a lot of 4-color decks. There are a lot of 5-color decks. I think there's enough people that will be pissed off by this card, but it's still a fair enough card to the point where it's easy to remove. It's not going to cause a lot of hate, but it's going to piss off the right people, the people who don't play enough removal, and I think it's definitely a balanced card. Not enough people know about it. One of those cards from Mirage. Definitely should consider playing it if you haven't already. Then we have the only legendary on this list, and it was one that I put on my top 10 most enjoyable commanders list. Norin the Wary, 1 mana little red dude that blinks whenever someone casts a spell or a creature attack. easy to trigger that. So many different ETB creature abilities and effects, and just so much fun to build around them. And typically, like we're talking about, playing cards like Warstorm Surge, Perforos God of the Forge, anything that can take advantage of those ETBs, and just a very underrated commander. I don't think enough people give him a chance because it's not the typical red deck that we're so used to with goblins. Next we have Primeval Protector, another card from Commander 2016 that makes it onto this list. I just don't know what it was. I thought this guy was going to see a ton of play, definitely more play than he ended up seeing. He's 11 mana. I think that's what some people just are turned off by. But he costs 1 less for each creature your opponents control. So I really don't understand why I didn't see more play. In this format, everyone's going to have creatures for the most part. You're going to go up against decks with tokens. You're going to go up against decks with a whole bunch of excess of creatures. Being able to cast this for 1 green mana is more realistic than it might seem. And when he does ETB, you get it to 10 power creature that gets other creatures +1/+1 counters. That's just awesome. And I'm really puzzled as to why he didn't see more play. He's one of those green creatures that I think people are just like, oh, I have enough power in my deck. I have enough power. He doesn't really do enough. Well, granted, he's not one of the better creatures at this type of mana. Yeah, Craterhoof Behemoth for 8 mana is a lot better than this. Next, we have another red card here, Price of Glory. 3 mana, enchantment. Whenever a player taps a land for mana during another player's turn, they destroy that land. That is an incredibly equalizing effect. There's so many control decks in this format. For red, this is just an amazing card. Red's all about disruption and just altering the paradigm of the current game. And when you can just piss off so many people that depend on control spells, instant speed abilities, and being able to pay mana just to do anything instant speed, if you can stop someone from doing that, or at least discourage them, or make them pay the price for doing it, this is just a great card. It sits on the field, and yeah, you're going to piss off some people, but again, it's usually going to be the right people that you're pissing off. Definitely play this card. If you're playing one of those really fun red decks, play it. Speaking of really fun red decks, we go on to the second to last card on this list here, Avatar of Slaughter. This dude is massive. He's 8 mana, but guess what? His ability is just freaking awesome. Each creature gains double strike, and it has to attack each turn. That is just crazy good. The only downside is he is super expensive, but put him in a deck like, say, Mael the Anima, where you can cheat out massive creatures pretty easily. Just an all-star right there. And again, if you're playing a very fun red deck, this is one of those cards that should be seeing more play. I don't know what it is with these avatars. Not enough people either know about them or want to play them. Just a very fun card. And usually I don't get pissed off if someone plays something like this. It's very fun. It's not like Gisela Blade of Gold Knight where only one person's really going to benefit from it. It seems like just embrace the chaos. And with a card like this, you really have a ton of fun doing that. Last card here, Dueling Grounds. 3 mana Celestia colored enchantment here. Only 1 creature can attack and block during each combat. So what this basically does is saying, okay, you're attacking with 1 creature, your opponent can only block with 1 creature. That is crazy. If you're playing Voltron, this is typically the card that you want to put in that deck, especially if you're playing Celestia colors. Fits into a deck like Url the Miststalker, Sigarda Host of Herons, any type of Voltron build playing Celestia colors. You should definitely consider playing this card. It is very underrated. It's one of those cards from Invasion. Another underrated set. It's a very decent set. You have some good cards in there that not enough people know about. Dueling Grounds is definitely one of them, and it's just a great combat card. Celestia, whether you're going big, going against decks that typically go wide, this hurts them. So it's both an offensive card for Voltron decks, and it's also a good defensive card against decks that want to go wide. So you kind of have that it goes both ways type of thing. Just like any other card on this list, I definitely think these should all see way more play than they already do. Dueling Grounds is definitely one of them. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this list of underrated cards. I sure as hell play just about all these cards, or at least I've tried to play all of these, or I've played against them at some point. I know that what all these cards can do. They're very good. Let me know if you guys have any of your cards that are underrated you want me to do lists about, anything about that, commander list, anything. Just let me know. I'm a people pleaser. Thank you guys so much for your support, and thanks for watching. Void Mage Gamer here, signing off. You guys have a wonderful day.